as composers, like how instantaneously do you hear the melody when you're starting work on a project? Like, does it just come to you? Is it just, or just, is it like a case by case thing?
For me, I will watch the movie for the first time and immediately go to the piano and just sort of start to reflect on how the movie made me feel. I mean, that's the first thing is just being. I just really am picky about the movies I work on and the people I work with, because I need to have a connection to both of those things, both the people and the movie. And once that's sort of sorted out, then when I watch the movie, I really just pay attention to how it makes me feel. And then it's all about finding that on the piano. What's the reflection of those feelings? How do you put that into music? And I don't have an answer as to how exactly that happens. It is like what Mychael was saying earlier, that we've been doing this a long time, and I still don't quite understand how it all happens. I just know it's about feelings, and emotion, and finding that.
Yeah, and that first watch through is so valuable, and I love it when I can have that first watch through in my studio, like on my system, and then I can jump up and write something then as the film's going by. And a lot of times, yeah, and that's absolutely right. Like remembering the way it made you feel the first time is what we do for the next 4 months,
Yes.
and try to, oh yeah, that's how I felt. Oh yeah, I was surprised at this. So it's really valuable that first time, and a lot of times, yeah, you do get that inspired thing right from the beginning.
I was actually going to say too, like I've had that experience from reading the script, and then what's always amazing is how when you actually do see the picture for the first time, you're like, whoa, that was wrong. You sort of, it's a very, like the picture's kind of like a truth teller to you, where sometimes your imaginings, the first idea, the first instinct, I find sometimes maybe it's saying something about the ideas in the movie, but when you watch it, it is that different, mysterious, emotional cauldron of whatever that is, and sometimes there's some other feeling that's actually the feeling, So I'm always fascinated with that mystery of where it comes from, but also how different it can be from reading it versus watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same thing as everybody really said. It's about a feeling, and whether you've read the script or whether I've read the script or not, it's I mentioned this when I talked earlier. A lot of it's talking to Damien and just kind of narrowing in on a few words, like things that we're both feeling based on the material, and he'll throw out a few things just for me to think about. And then, feeling my way around the piano and getting the feedback from the piano and trying to translate that feeling into what does that sound like. And it's a lot of, just like I said, feeling around. There's almost like a tactile quality. People ask if like I ever just hear a melody, and I've never ever heard anything like walking down the street. I have to be at the piano, and I have to actually have that physical connection with the piano, and it's almost like a shapes and tactile thing a lot of the time. It's like there's something about making those shapes with the keys and sinking into the key bed that is where I guess the ideas really start to happen.
So how do you overcome writer's block? Is it just a deadline that you just have to get something done?
Yeah,
Wait till 5 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. That was weird. That was just stupidity. That wasn't even writer's block. That was just me being dumb. But I get asked that a lot. I don't get writer's block. I mean, it's why, again, goes back to being picky about what I'm working on, the people I'm working with, because I'm always excited to work on those projects with them. I find that. And I'm very sort of scheduled. I'm a very 9 to 5, no weekends, no evenings sort of worker. My parents were teachers when I was growing up, and and I don't know if that comes from that, but I like having my work and I like having my life, and I like being able to do both. So I think for the years of just looking at it like that, I just know I get up in the morning, I'm going to work till 5, and just keep writing, and and don't second guess anything. Just get it all out there, and if it works, it works. If it's not, you can fix it tomorrow.
I think I procrastinate every single day, and every day is a battle against the procrastination. The mornings are rough, and then I have the same thing. Like at about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, I go, oh my God, I've wasted the whole day. And then I feel that pressure, and then that's my golden time is like from 5 till like 9 or something. There's those hours in there. I wish I was as disciplined as you, or able to focus and have a life, but sadly.
I'm going to drag you out one night. 5 o'clock, I'm coming to your house. I'm going to take you out.
I'm just starting to write then.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I don't. Yeah, I guess I don't really have that writer's block, that feeling that much. But I think that one thing I find too, I think there are times where things are flowing more than others for sure. And I think for me, the times are probably when they are flowing is I think whenever you're deeply engaged in just reading and watching movies that you love and listening to me, whenever you're sort of emotionally and intellectually engaged in things, I think your whole artistic system is just functioning more. And I think there are times when, I guess we all have times when we're not sort of in that place, and I think things are on a lower ebb, But I do find, like, if I'm reading a novel that I'm really into, or if I'm watching movies I love, things that inspire you, I think whenever you remember the things that make you excited about this, then you get, that spark is there.
I guess this would be writer's block, but I also mentioned this earlier. But the really, really frustrating phase for me is just that like blue sky composition phase at the piano at the beginning, just looking for the main material of the movie, because it's I just never know when it's gonna come and how long it's gonna take, and I get really stuck like thinking one way about it, and keep trying different melodies, different ideas, but they're all somehow, I get stuck somehow in some plane, and I can't break out of it. And Damien's just saying no, maybe no, but they're all no's. Even the maybes are no's, and that I get like a real despair, because I just don't know. Like I get a lot of self-doubt at that point, and I really don't know when if I'm ever going to break out of it. It's really when I start doubting if it's going to happen. And it's also like the most isolated part of the process for me, which makes it tough too, because the rest of it, once we get to post, I'm with Damien, and we have the crew is there, and I'm just, there are people to talk to and bounce things off of and show things to. But it's very alone at the piano at the beginning, searching, not knowing where to look. It's like a combination of loneliness and creative frustration, and that's the really hard part for me.
This is such great therapy for all of us. So,
Wonderful.
Just get it
Wonderful.
all out.
Talk it through.
I'm going to come to your house, take you out too. You're coming with us.
Michael and I both have places at Hollywood and Vine, which is like the clubbing area of the.
but we're just alone across the street from each other.
Alone at
We
pianos.
literally just found out that
Yeah.
we're 100. Like I'm there 14 hours a day, and you're there all the time, and we're like 100 feet from each other. And
You guys are like security guards. You're just there.
But you start working at 5 to 9, so you can't go out.
Oh,
right?
I'm there. I'm there all day. It's just that I'm lonely and traumatized. And what are the other words we've used tonight? Yeah.
Well, you've all have worked with the same director or directors more than once. So what do you like about that continuous relationship, and are there any disadvantages to that?
I enjoy it. I mean, I am close friends with most of the directors that I work with, and so it's just another excuse for us to get to hang out. And for me, it's always about like, okay, going back to that 10-year-old feeling of like just running outside, grabbing your friends, and making something. And it all starts with, wouldn't it be cool if we made that trash can into a robot? Now, at that age, it never worked, sadly. But that's the feeling. Actually, when it's working right, that's the wonderful part about it, is you're with friends, you're making something, you're being creative and having fun. And not to say it's not hard, it is hard, but there's an enjoyment to it when you're with people that you love.
Yeah, isn't this great? Like, composers are such systematic people that we're doing the same order every
I know.
time, because just we've like fallen into this is the system.
Feels comfortable.
Yeah, and this is exactly right. That, but also you spend the very first time you collaborate with a director, you spend at least half the process, and actually probably up until the film comes out, there's this lingering doubt on the part of the director that, because it's such an act of trust to kind of hand the emotional core of your film to this stranger, to write this music. And obviously, but at the end of it, you feel like you wrote the score together, that it's a true collaboration. And then, the film will come out and they'll look at it, and then they'll fall in love with the score after it's recorded and in the movie. And then you have that feeling of security with that person, and that, okay, we're having problems now, but we did solve it on the last one, so it's going to be okay. But that first film, there is that doubt, and not that I blame a director for that.
Well, no, I agree with all that. I mean, I think we all, I'm sure, feel very lucky to work with people that we feel close to who are also inspiring. And I think the thing that is again, in the realm of mysteries, that we're sort of searching for, like how you calibrate your own kind of aesthetic, emotional universe to somebody else's, where with a director, you're feeling things and you're turning them into sound, and a director, somehow you have to be on kind of the same page with that, like the zone that they feel and that they like, stylistically, emotional, all these things. You have to kind of find this like common ground. And I think that's something that sometimes it's there, sometimes it takes time, sometimes I think maybe it's never there. And I think when you do find it, it's incredibly exciting and exhilarating at times, because there's that trust where you're gonna, you hope, but you kind of know you're gonna keep finding things that surprise you and inspire you and discover, that you've discovered, that you feel like, how did we get here? And I think those are the things in some ways that keep it fascinating and that keep me excited to do another project. So working with those directors, I think you're closer maybe with that to that experience than not.
I know this is about directors we've worked with. What was the specific question?
What do you like about having that relationship? Just
familiarity, kind of refining the process. That all feels really good. And I love that Damien takes, a lot of risks in his own career, and that is exciting for me to get to sort of jump with him off, the next thing, whether it's, kind of a lighthearted movie, and then this movie is a lot darker and more intense, and he's willing to just sort of like go different directions. It's fun to sort of follow that and learn new things, because he's learning new things and really expanding his horizons each movie, it seems. So it's fun to sort of try to do the same thing, and
And lastly, where's the strangest place you've thought of a queue?
Me? Oh.
You have to go in order.
In the shower. I don't know if that's all that strange. Hopefully we all take showers. But for Up, I remember, it was one of those things. I thought of that theme in the shower, and I thought I had written a theme for it already. It wasn't quite working. I wasn't quite loving it, and I remember Pete was feeling the same way as me. And so in the shower, I thought of this other one, and I thought, what, I'm not going to write it down. I'm just going to let the day go by, and if tomorrow morning I wake up and I remember it, then maybe that's a good thing. And so I let it go, and the next morning I woke up and I remembered it, and I wrote it down, and that's
the theme.
And that was
that made us all cry.
Yeah. Well, Pete had a hand in that too. Yes, but yeah, that was that. So that was probably the weirdest time. Usually it's at the piano.
When we first moved to Los Angeles from Toronto, we were moving down to a house that was supposed to be ready for us, and we pulled up, and it was not only not ready, but it was completely padlocked shut. And I was in the middle of a film called Being Julia, and so I wrote the main theme in my car. Yeah.
You have a studio in your car?
No, I had some paper and a pencil, and so that's where it got
Long
it got
form,
written. Yeah. Actually, two of the themes were written in my car because that's where we were living. So, beat that, Britell.
Well, I mean, I think maybe the oddest place that I've written a piece or a theme was walking down Broadway in New York. I had some ideas for something. I was walking with my wife to Zabar's, and on Sunday morning, it's nice to sort of walk up to Zabar's. And I remember I was like yelling. I have a terrible singing voice, and I was like sort of yell singing these things into my iPhone. And my wife was like, "Please stop, just please stop this." But those themes stuck. They really got They were. I'm glad I was able to record those. So.
Car is also what I was thinking as my. It was. It wasn't like writing a new piece of music, but it was the figuring out the whistling at the beginning of City of Stars. I had gone home to visit my parents in Wisconsin for the weekend. I snuck away. It was the summer that we were in pre-production and still trying to figure out the demos. And I'd snuck away and gotten one weekend. I thought I can get away for 2 days and go to Wisconsin, and the emails didn't stop. Damien and Fred and Jordan, the producers, just
you just don't check them.
well, I can't do that. So it's just I sent something probably Friday, and there's more well, what if it did this? What if it did that? And said, what if the whistling did? And so it was we were on the way to the airport. I was coming back to LA, but they wouldn't stop giving notes. So it was we were in the car, and I kept asking my parents to pull over the car because there was too much wind noise going past, so they would pull over the car. I'd record a whistling idea into my laptop, just the little built-in speaker. Then I would have to tether my laptop to my phone to get some weak 4G or whatever to send off the demo. It's okay, let's just go to the airport. And then 5 minutes later, one of them jumped in with, I think that's okay, but I don't like when it does that. And what if it rested there or whatever? So then I would tell my parents to pull over, do it again. I think we had to pull over 4 times between our house and the airport.
And did you make your flight?
I made the flight, and then I had a connection in O'Hare, and then I was working on it there as well. So it got done sort of halfway in between the car and then a little bit at O'Hare.
I like this. It's 2 cities, and then I'm assuming you finished it here, so it's
Yeah, I mean the track was finished here, but some big things were figured out in the car or at the Chicago airport.
Did they know you were on the way to the airport?
No.
No.
They I don't think they would care either.